Well, we are just days away now before the sentencing of Brendan-Banfield. In February, a jury found the former IRS agent guilty of murdering his wife, Christine Banfield, and a man named Joseph Ryan. Brendan Banfield was convicted of conspiring with his au pair to kill his wife through an elaborate scheme using a sex fetish website. His defense is now trying to get those guilty verdicts thrown out. And Matthew Torres is here to break down the arguments. And Matt, how prosecutors are responding?
Yeah, well, first off, as you know, Annie, a jury convicted Brendan Banfield on 2 counts of aggravated murder. Now his defense team is making a last-ditch effort to undo that verdict, arguing prosecutors crossed the line during trial.
In a last-minute attempt to save his client, Brendan Banfield, defense attorney John Carroll is arguing to set aside his guilty verdicts. A jury found Banfield guilty in February of murdering his wife, Christine, and a stranger named Joseph Ryan. Prosecutors laid out a case arguing he conspired with his au pair and lover, Juliana Peres Magalhaes, to lure Ryan to their home using a sex fetish website and framing him as a violent intruder. But in this court filing, Carroll claims prosecutors made errors during Banfield's 3-week trial.
Which obviously for a client facing life, you want to raise every issue.
Legal expert Frank Salvedo says Carroll has a couple strong arguments. One is his claim prosecutors portrayed Banfield as guilty for staying silent for years throughout the investigation, only to reveal new details when he testified on the stand.
At no point have you had your counsel reach out to law enforcement to tell them this story?
Actually, I did have
your wife. Excuse me, I'm not finished.
Prosecutor Jenna Sands is pushing back, saying she was challenging his timing, not his rights. The defense is also taking aim at the au pair's testimony. They claim prosecutors didn't correct her when she repeatedly said, "I don't know," on the stand, even as she accused Banfield of planning the killing.
So if you want me to be specific, again, I might say it's me, or I might say it's Brendan, and if I'm not sure, what am I doing? I'm guessing, and I'm not doing this.
And there's another issue, a last-minute witness. A former coworker testified late in the trial challenging Banfield's version of events and portraying him as a liar. The witness only came forward to prosecutors after learning what Banfield said earlier in the trial, putting into question how he learned it.
Generally speaking, there is a rule on witnesses, meaning witnesses can't sit in the courtroom and watch the testimony of other witnesses and then come in and having had that free preview, then comment on what's going on in the courtroom.
It is rare for a judge to throw out a jury's verdict, but if that happens, Banfield would get a new trial. We expect to hear arguments on those motions just before sentencing scheduled Friday. Meanwhile, his au pair, Juliana Peres Magalhaes, has already been sentenced. She's serving 10 years in prison, Annie.
Wow. Okay, that's a big development, and we'll have to see what happens in just a few days.
Definitely.
Matthew, thank you.